Imagine being hungry, not just you, maybe your entire family. Your wallet is bare or budget is stretched to the limit, or you just need a warm meal. Our guest today is Trinity Cafe. They feed our hungry and homeless a 3-course, fresh and nutritious meal daily, asking nothing in return. They're up next on Bayside. Good morning and welcome to Bayside. I'm your host, Shelly Sanders. That's right, we're talking all about Trinity Cafe. Perhaps you've heard of it, or perhaps you haven't, but you heard what I said, right? Being hungry, being fed, asking nothing in return. That's what Trinity Cafe does. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome our very special guest today, Mandy Cloninger. Welcome to the show, and Frank Weaver. Pleasure to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, this is a beautiful concept. I absolutely love it. I'm so thrilled to have you guys here and really enlighten our community. For those that haven't heard of you, I can't wait for them to hear all about the undergoings of it all. And those that have, maybe it's just a great way for them to learn some more. So with that being said, let's talk about it. Tell me about your presence here, how many cafes you have, what goes on, and how you're represented here in the Bay Area.
Sure. Trinity Cafe is a charitable restaurant that serves our hungry and homeless neighbors a delicious 3-course meal. And our mission is all about restoring dignity. Many of our guests come to us and we might be the only conversation they have each day, but our volunteers greet the guests at the door, a maitre d' seats them, and then wonderful volunteers like Frank serve our 3-course meal and actually sit at the table to build conversations and relationships. And really our core values are all about acceptance, respect, love, dignity.
It's something as simple as that.
It is, and we have 2 locations serving in Tampa. So today alone, we'll serve somewhere between 4 and 450 meals with dignity. Wow. And we engage a wonderful volunteer corps with folks like Frank and 32 volunteers a day at each of our locations who really help bring that mission to life. And we build that intentional community around a dining room table, much like you do at home when you're having a meal. Sure. Families come to us with children. 1 in 4 kids is hungry here in our community. And we serve folks every single day from all sorts of walks of life.
Wow, that really puts it into perspective for you. 1 in 4 children are hungry. So on any given occasion, just go to the mall. There's children all over the mall. 1 in every 4 children. That's the statistic here. That's sad, isn't it? So, okay, we're talking about breakfast, lunch, dinner. What are we talking about?
We serve lunch Monday through Fridays at both of our locations and breakfast on the weekends.
Okay. All right. So tell me about these locations. Where are they?
Sure. In Tampa, we have 2 locations. One is located at 2801 North Nebraska Avenue in the urban core. And then our second location, which opened just a little over a year ago, is at 2202 East Bush Boulevard in the northern Tampa area. And we are currently exploring options to perhaps bring a 3rd location to Pinellas County.
Oh, wow. Love it. Okay, so I'm sure that the question comes around every time. First of all, when people hear of this, it's sort of staggering, and you just kind of have to chew on that, no pun intended, chew on what you're about. Then you think to yourself, wow, wait a second. And you ask nothing in return. So talk to me about that concept. First of all, how did it come about, and how is it that you're functioning? How do you do this? How do you make these things happen?
Sure. Well, it's with the generous support of the community. A lot of folks who give and serve and volunteer and get involved. But our founding director, Jeff Derry, him and a few other businessmen were concerned about the homeless population that they saw in Tampa and the lack of options for them to have a daily meal. And so Jeff travels for his business and went all over the country looking at what he could see and how folks were serving. He looked at pantry programs, he looked at soup kitchens, and he came back with the idea to offer a fine dining restaurant where the guests were asked for nothing in return and where volunteers really brought the mission to life and got to know the guests and really look them in the eye, get to know them by name. and treat them with the kind of dignity and respect that he himself showed when he would take his kids to the local park, and he'd bring fried chicken along, and they'd sit down and they'd talk with people. I mean, that dining room table can be an equalizer.
Sure.
You know, unfortunate circumstances happen to all of us. It could be a job loss, a medical issue. You know, you're just struggling to get by. Like these families who have their kids home during the summer, and it's just an additional burden for electricity costs, you know, additional food costs and childcare costs. Those are the folks that we see each and every day. And that's how we got started, and that model that came to us 16 years ago happens every single day, thanks to wonderful people who serve and give.
That's fantastic. So that was my next question. How long has this been going on? How long has it been around? So 16 years in the making.
And we've served about 1.28 million meals with dignity and counting.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Good for you. On one hand, it's bittersweet. It's sad that we have to, that you still have a business. And second, it's really amazing and incredible that you're able to facilitate that. It really speaks volumes for you out there in the Bay Area, adding to the volunteers, helping sponsors, helping sponsor these meals. So walk me through it. So say we have a family that's out there that's just now hearing about this. And again, something that most of us take for granted, just summertime, most of us are thinking like, oh, what do we do with our kids for camp? There are some families out there that now that school's not in, that's one more meal they're going to have to purchase. So, and there's not funds available. So perhaps there's a family like that out there. Walk me through the process. So they show up for lunchtime. How does it work?
Sure. A wonderful volunteer will greet them at the door, say hello, welcome them, and then direct them to a table that's open. They'll be seated. If they need high chairs, we have high chairs available. They'll put the kids in the high chair, they'll sit down, and then a wonderful volunteer will also serve them and bring them the meal in courses, a super salad to start, a delicious protein-rich entree with vegetables and healthy starches. Every meal mirrors a USDA plate and incorporates wonderful fruits and veggies, and then a dessert and a piece of fruit to conclude the meal.
Sure.
We welcomed a family just about a month ago, Jeremiah, Sally, and their 5-month-old Dawson. They had found themselves actually stranded here in Tampa, had come down for a job, and then that job didn't pan out, and so they didn't have the money to return home. And they were staying in a local rooming house that is frankly unfit for anyone. You wouldn't wish it on your worst enemy. And Sally was actually afraid to sit her 5-month-old down on the bed because she was worried that it wasn't clean and that he'd get sick. And at that moment, they needed a nutritious meal because they hadn't eaten that day. And someone told them about Trinity Cafe. And when they came to our cafe, our staff and our volunteers greeted them, and we learned about their circumstances. And through connections and collaborations that we have in the community, we were able to reach out to another nonprofit partner who got them put up in a much more safe and healthy place until they were able to return home. And while they may have needed us only for that meal for a short time, we're also there every single day for folks who maybe don't have a meal available to them or are just struggling to get by.
Sure. So that is another aspect of Trinity Cafe, is that you have the resources available that can help them out in other aspects of their life. Just again, through conversation and talking with individuals that come in to be able to facilitate
we offer real
that.
quality of life services, from showers for our homeless neighbors. We have a partner who comes on site to offer showers. We offer medical services, connections to housing and healthcare options. And all of these are through wonderful partners that are available in the community.
Love it. Okay, well, we still have yet to talk to Frank Weaver, our volunteer coordinator for Thursdays at Trinity Cafe too. But we're going to have to take a short break. There's the website right there. If you want more information, trinitycafe.org, trinitycafe.org. Of course, we'll have a link for you on ours, cw44.com as well if you get lost. So don't go anywhere. We're coming back after this. We're going to talk to Frank Weaver. Welcome back to Bayside. I'm your host, Shelley Sanders. I've been speaking with Mandy Cloninger all about Trinity Cafe, and she's brought with her Frank Weaver, volunteer coordinator. Frank, talk to me about what it means to volunteer at Trinity Cafe.
Well, my first episode in volunteering was with my wife. She's a part of a philanthropic group called PEO, and the women serve in various capacities around the area, Bay Area. And they dragged the men along with them one time, and I wasn't sure I was real excited about doing a food service, but lo and behold, it resonated with me, and so I've been doing it ever since.
And here you are, volunteer coordinator.
So yeah, I upped my volunteer participation at the request of one of the other volunteer coordinators so that I could show more commitment and spend more time in relationship with some of both the staff and the guests that come in.
Sure. So talk to me a little bit about that experience, what it's like to volunteer there, and how it resonated with you. You said you came in not sure. I mean, it's funny how the path landed you to where you are now. You never knew that you'd end up with this position.
No clue. The work is very much like a high-end restaurant, except that we're not paid. But we have servers and we have people that dish food. And
Not
we have people
monetarily anyway, right?
Correct. There's no paycheck, no financial paycheck. And we do all the bussing and the scraping of the dishes and preparation of the food and serving. But most importantly, we have a volunteer at each table who has intentional one-on-one contact with the guests as they come in. And that's probably the highlight of the volunteering experience there, because you start forming a relationship with those people. And you start by thinking, well, I'm a volunteer and they're in trouble, but over time you realize it's just the simple twist of fate that puts you on one side of the table and them on the other. So it becomes rather, when you realize it's a level playing field, it becomes a lot more rewarding to be there and be in intentional relationship with the guests that come in.
So there's payoff. It's just not a payday.
There's a big payoff, and we see a lot of different kinds of payoff. For example, I was becoming pretty cynical about the youth in our culture, but when I became a volunteer coordinator, we started bringing in more and more college students from USF, University of Tampa, and the high schools around. And that has renewed my faith a lot in the younger generation, because I see young people who can work and will work and have a giving attitude and
Sure.
grounded in really good, solid values. So that's helped me quite a lot.
I love that. So any particular story that comes to mind, a favorite, or is it just all so beautiful that it's too hard of a question?
Well, there are a lot of stories. The ones that I like the most are the people that have come in to volunteer because they were homeless at one point and came to Trinity as a guest. And they now say, it was so important to me to have that I want to be there to have that for someone else, to make that available for someone else.
How wonderful.
And many of those people become employees and stay on and do jobs with Trinity, and then move on to maybe bigger careers or bigger jobs. But
Sure.
it's transitional in many ways to many different people. And watching those relationships develop is pretty fantastic.
Sure. So talk to me about volunteering. How does, maybe we've got viewers or even people here at the station that want to help out. How does one go about that?
It's really simple. You go to the website, trinitycafe.org, and there's a volunteer calendar. There are two of them, one for the Bush Boulevard location, one for the Nebraska location.
You're looking at that website for you at home. You're looking at the website right there, and that is trinitycafe.org. We'll also have a link for you on our website. So you go to that website, Frank?
And you click on the calendar for the location where you want to serve, and fill in a very simple form, the date that you want to serve, your email address and a phone number. And you get confirmation emails and reminders back from the cafe. And then you show up at 11, and you're finished by 1, and you walk out feeling pretty doggone good about yourself.
How about that? So it's easy as that. Pick your hours.
very
You can
simple.
pick your schedule. There you go.
And
Easy as that.
We have volunteers that volunteer every day of the week for a week or 2 or 3 in a row. Some that do every Tuesday. They'll sign up for 4 or 5 Tuesdays in a row. They're just kind of all over the map.
So talk to me about Thursdays at Trinity Cafe too.
Thursdays became my day because I was substituting as an assistant or a fill-in coordinator for another coordinator, and she had a schedule that was so full she couldn't continue doing that job full time, so she asked me if I'd take it over. And I thought, well, I'm not sure I want that level of commitment, but once I started doing it, I found out it's a pretty valuable thing to do. But we have Trinity Cafe Thursday regulars There are some people that I see every Thursday that want to be in that group, that have the camaraderie that comes with being in that same group. We have some entities that show up. Liberty Tax Service is one. They'll show up with a group of people. Several of the churches will show up with a group of people. There's a women's club, and once a month these groups will come in. So we get a lot of experienced volunteers. We get some new volunteers. We love our new volunteers. We love to orient them and get them rocking and rolling with how it works with the dignity thing and the service and the contact.
Sure.
And it turns out to be a happy team. And even when it seems like we're understaffed for volunteers, it always works out. Everything just manages somehow to come together and flow. So it always works.
I love how throughout the course of our conversation, so many things about you, what you knew about yourself, from opinions to suspect thoughts on your experience. And it just went out the window. It sounds like you've discovered many things about yourself throughout the process.
Yes, it's very developmental to work in any capacity with Trinity Cafe. But
I love it. It's beautiful and it's compelling as well. All right, so excuse me. For you at home, you can always log on to their website, trinitycafe.org. We'll have a link for you on our website as well, cw44.com. Why don't you go check it out, figure out how you can volunteer. Remember, click the calendars and pick your hours. All right, we'll be back after this. Welcome back to Bayside. I'm your host, Shelly Sanders. We've been talking all about Trinity Cafe, and I'm telling you, Mandy, we could be talking about this every show and still not have enough time to talk about it all. It's just a beautiful thing, and for that matter, we could have an entire show just with stories alone.
Absolutely.
I love Frank's perspective on things. I would love for you guys to come back and bring perhaps one of those volunteers that started off a customer or a client, one who partook in the dining there. So not enough time to talk about it all. Let's talk about your needs. What do you need most?
Yeah.
What are the needs for
Well, really, our greatest needs are for folks to help us serve meals every single day, and you can do that a few different ways. And I like to encourage folks to give, G-I-V-E. And every financial gift that's given to Trinity Cafe helps us to serve a delicious meal with dignity. Every $2.50 helps us to serve a delicious meal with dignity and purchase the food that's needed.
So $25 essentially gives you 10 meals.
Absolutely.
That's incredible.
Right. And we regularly have a volunteer named Wayne who goes online and makes his gifts of $10 at a time. He does it several times throughout the year and helps to serve many meals with dignity. But we also see Wayne on his days off because he works at a local warehouse and has been employed there for many years. And he was approached by another volunteer and given a personalized apron with his name on it. And he actually refuses to wear it. It's at home to remind him of how far he's come, because we were there for when Wayne needed us, when he needed a meal several years ago. But now he comes back and regularly gives and volunteers and makes online gifts as well as gives of his time and his treasure to the cafe.
Love it.
Yeah, and then folks like Frank invite others. So I invite somebody to come visit the cafe with you. Come volunteer. We use 32 volunteers every single day at both of our locations, and they help to save us nearly $1 million in labor costs. We couldn't do it without our loyal and awesome volunteers, folks just like Wayne and just like Frank. And then engage with us. Go online and check out our Facebook or our Instagram or our Twitter account and see what we're doing, and then share that with others. Because just like coming on your show will help us find new volunteers and new donors, when you share that stuff in social media, it helps spread the word about the cafe and bring light to the greatest needs in our community.
Sure. And I also understand that you guys have a fundraiser coming up in November.
We do. Stick a Fork in Hunger is going to be at Trinity Cafe for 3 nights, November 16th through the 18th. And we have sponsorships available starting at $1,000 and up. You can learn more online on our website at trinitycafe.org. But we will literally transform Trinity Cafe into a fine dining restaurant over the course of 3 nights. And you can choose a night of, college-inspired dish by Booyah
it.
Ramen on Thursday, bourbon and barbecue on
You'll
Friday.
have to check it all
or
out.
Saturday
You're
night.
looking at the website right there. You'll have to check it all out online. TrinityCafe.org. We'll have a link for you on CW44 as well. Don't go anywhere. We're coming back after this to wrap up this week's edition of Bayside. As always, I want to thank you at home for joining us this week, and thank you guys for being here. It's been most enlightening. I encourage you, $2.50. That's all it takes to provide one meal. $2.50. Log on, trinitycafe.org. Give of your time, give of your funds. Either way, get out and get involved.